Hi, this is George Alger with a new segment of Our Ventura TV. Today I'm speaking with the Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Church of Scientology, Doug Daniloff. Welcome, Doug.
Hi, George. How are you?
Good.
Good, good.
So today we're going to be talking about Scientology, and just as an overview here or an introduction, how long have you yourself been into Scientology?
Been in Scientology for 36 years.
All right, you have some experience.
I have indeed.
Well, let's start with the most basic question. What is Scientology?
Scientology is an applied philosophy. It's an applied religious philosophy. And that simply means that you're living life and you want to know how to improve conditions in life, situations, and Scientology has technology to help a person to do that.
Cool. Now, Scientology has been in the news, and in fact, it's been in the news for some good things and some controversial things, and I've seen that for decades. Why is it controversial?
Well, that's a funny thing. It's controversial because Scientology is a very effective activity. In other words, it actually helps people to improve conditions in their life, situations they want to get better. And the controversy comes when you have artists like writers and TV people and so forth that take the content and twist it a little bit in order to make some excitement. And they see to it that they've got to create excitement and oh my God and that sort of thing with the public. And so they add controversy to it.
All right, well, is Scientology a cult?
Good question. Scientology is a cult by the definition. If you go into the dictionary and you look at one of the definitions of a cult, it's a religious movement or religious activity. So Scientology in that definition would be. But it's a pretty abrasive sounding word, cult. So people think, oh my gosh, it's a cult, right? So in that way, it's not. Okay, it's a very practical thing.
Yeah, in fact, I looked at the definition too, and it seems like any religion could be embraced by that terminology.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay, and does Scientology believe in reincarnation or past lives?
A belief in is sort of the reliance upon something. You believe in something, you rely upon it, you think that that will help you in some form or another, right? So in this regard, Scientology doesn't believe in past lives. It's just something that has come up consistently again and again with people as an effort to resolve a personal problem that they have, and they're trying to locate where did this problem come from? What's the origin in my life of this particular thing that I have going on with myself? Let's say I'm afraid of heights or I've got claustrophobia or something like that. And you want to find out where did this come from because it's a little bit irrational. And so in that quest to find the source, a person will find themselves going into a past life, right? One of their past lives. It's always the same. Oh my God, are you sure? Is this really what it is? We don't care one way or the other. The only thing we care about is that the person is relieved of that difficulty that they're experiencing. Okay, and that's really where the cutoff point is. So if somebody does that in one life, that's great. If they do it in 14 lives, that's fine too. We don't care.
All right, so it is something, though, that some people would experience.
They absolutely experience it again and again and again. It's just so much there. It's, it's rain on a rainy day. It's just there. You know it's there, right? And it's just not that big of a thing as far as Scientology is concerned.
Okay. Now, what are some of the benefits that one might expect from Scientology?
All right. There's a lot of benefits. Relationships can be improved. One's education skills, how to learn. There's exact methods of learning so that if you run into a difficulty while you're studying something, you can't seem to understand it or use it or whatever, these skills come in place. So now you can study something so that you can apply it. There's drug reform. There's morality improvement. There's a lot of different areas that a person can get involved with, improving confidence, improving their motivation, effective time management, improving marriage conditions. You see it's quite widespread.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Now, why is religion, or why is Scientology called a religion?
Well, it's a religion because in the oldest sense of the word, and if we go back in time 2,000 years plus, we look at religion in the oldest tradition, which is man is a spirit, right? And we recognize that man's a spirit. Now, as you come forward to where we are now in time, what you see is a collision between the philosophy of religion, which is man's a spiritual being, right, and the religious practice, where the Buddha doll is this chubby little guy that sits down, right? And in order to like be traditional about it, you have to do something in regards to that, right? That's religious practice. So we skip all the practice stuff when we go back to religious philosophy. Man is a spiritual being. There is a God, infinity, the supreme being, however you want to define that. It's a personal thing, right? And it's man as a spirit and his relationship to the physical world around him. That's why it's religion.
Okay. In the truest sense of the word.
In the truest sense of the word. That's a great way to put it.
All right. So what was L. Ron Hubbard's role in the church?
Okay. L. Ron Hubbard in the early 30s was interested in the life force. What animated a man or a woman? And what is that quality that exists there with them? What is the difference between somebody who's got a lot of energy and somebody that doesn't? So in that quest, he went into the mind, and he discovered that there's an irrational part of the mind, and there's a rational part. And this irrational part, in his discovery, those irrationalities could actually be eliminated. Okay, so instead of taking aspirin to try and tone the headache down, you get rid of the headache, right? So and that technique and all that stuff about the mind is called Dianetics. So once he discovered the principles of the mind and how to eliminate the negative parts, he kept going back to the life force. So he went, well, let's look at this again, right? So in his quest for the life force, he discovered man as a spirit. Now, along the way in 1954, the idea came to individuals within Scientology that Scientology should become a religion because it was so practically a religion. It dealt with man as a spirit, it recognized the existence of God, it helped man to improve his conditions in life, it took up helping man in his difficulties in life, like drugs and so forth, right? So they said, we should make this a religion. And Mr. Hubbard looked at that and said, this is a good idea, right? So the religion of Scientology, the Church of Scientology, began at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a number of churches around the world.
Yep.
And including the one that you run is in Santa Barbara.
That's right.
And you want to mention where that is?
It's on 524 State Street.
Okay.
Yep.
Right there in
the heart of the restaurants and all the fun lifetime, nightlife there, yeah.
And there's also an association here in Ventura.
That's right. There's a mission of the Church of Scientology in Ventura, and it's right in this particular area.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a telephone, I think, or forget what.
Telephone or telegraph?
Yeah, one of those.
I keep confusing those roads.
They get crossed up in my mind.
Is Scientology open to anyone?
Absolutely anybody, right? And more exactly are people that are interested in trying to improve some condition in their life. And they should probably go check out Scientology and see if it could help them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how do people actually get involved with Scientology?
They come in and find out for themselves. They take some sort of a service, or they take a personality test or something, and it's really a discovery process, as it is for all of us when we got involved with Scientology. It's a self-discovery thing, but you need to have materials like buy a book and read it, right? Don't go online to listen to other people's ideas of what Scientology is, even myself. Go read a book and see what the book has to say and see if it's practical, see if it works for you, right? And that's part of the discovery process. And then once you discover that, yes, there's value to this, then you can go into a church, or you can maybe discover that in a church and take a service.
Okay, and there's a lot of books.
There's a lot of books, and there's a lot of different courses, and there's different counseling, and there's a lot of things to Scientology, absolutely.
And is Scientology expensive?
No. That's a very good question, because people go, wow, this costs a lot, right? No, the way it's been toned down, like you can take a course on, let's say, effective time management, which is a popular one for UCSB students to take, $50 for that particular course. There's a number of very inexpensive courses that allow a person to make the discovery of Dianetics and Scientology and how it applies to them in their life. And so, yeah, they're very inexpensive.
Good. All right, well, we're just about out of time here. Is there any summating message that you would like to convey to listeners who may or may not have any familiarity with Scientology?
Sure. Yesterday I talked to a friend of mine who's not a Scientologist, and he's a real estate investor, very successful real estate investor. And his comment to me was, you know, I'm really sick and tired of seeing this negative stuff about Scientology because it's just not true, right? And the reason why he says that is because he took the time to go in and find out for himself what it actually was. And he realized, you know, the stuff that comes out in the news and so forth is just the controversy to sell the newspaper. So if a person wants to find out about Scientology, they should make that discovery themselves based on the actual materials of Dianetics and Scientology, not so much what the interpretation is that somebody has. That's my advice.
Good. Well said. If someone did want to find out more information online, what would be a good place to go?
Scientology.org. That's a great place to go.
All right.
All right, George.
Cool. Well, then, thank you very much, Doug, for coming by.
You bet.
And this is George Alger signing off for another segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we see you again.